Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lines TV. Welcome to another QnA live stream. Yeah, it's been a while. I know you guys. I wanted to do like a bit of a quick one for tonight because I just wanted to get back in the rhythm and I wanted to test out using OBS as well. I'm trying to make the live streams a bit different. So over time this month, the format and the look of the live stream is going to look really, really different. So obviously, hopefully, that should be pretty decent. But yeah, I'm just waiting for the questions to load. Like for example, there's supposed to be like a screen showing the live chat, but it's not coming up for some reason, which I don't understand. But you guys, obviously, good to see everyone here. Quality, Casey, Christopher, Lorenzo, Ragnar. Good to see everyone. Obviously, I can't speak too loud. My girl's sleeping beside me, so I feel bad, but had to do something today. You guys, of course, I'm only here for half an hour, so I want to keep everything quick and brief. Obviously, if you want your question prioritized, if you go to the link in the description below, I've got a Streamlabs set up. So if you did donate, that means your name would pop up. But of course, send a super chat if you want your question prioritized. I'm going to go through as many questions as I can. Yeah, it worked. Timothy Joe, you're the first one to use that feature. Love the reaction videos. Thank you, man. That's actually a great point. I sounded really vague then. Vain then. Basically, I'm having an issue with these reaction videos. When it comes to reacting to, current games, I can't seem to do that. I had that video taken down twice, and it's been like multiple times I've tried to upload, and it's been blocked worldwide. It's frustrating. So I've got an idea to continue the format because it's not looking like I can continue that match reaction video on YouTube. But I was thinking of offering that as a Patreon perk. So if you'd sign up to Patreon, you pay a certain amount per month, you'd get access to those exclusive videos every single month because, I like making them. So it'd be a shame to stop doing it. I like making the thumbnails as well. So the thumbnails will come included. So I'm thinking of doing that to try and continue that series in that sense. But obviously, Christian, thank you for another super chat, man. What's the plan for post-Hazard now? When it comes to Hazard, one thing we have to all realize is that this is going to change as time goes on throughout the season. There's nothing final with Eden Hazard. I mean, he's not the most assertive of people. If he was, he would have left here already, in my personal opinion. It's quite conflicting because obviously with the report that came out today was like 2 months old. And when I released that video at the end, like 2 months ago even, I did say in the video that he had told teammates and staff that he was looking to leave. Now I don't know what's happened since. Obviously, the article that came out was from an interview 2 months ago, back during that whole spell and period. Who knows what's happening right now? I don't know how current the stories are from the press. That's one thing I'm trying to find out because it's obvious that they constantly re-release stories they've known about from time ago. They release it time in the future. I don't know why, but I don't know. I'm not giving up hope with Eden Hazard just yet. I'm still believing that something could happen. Let's see how Vinicius does at Real Madrid. I still keep thinking if this guy ends up having a fantastic end to the season, Madrid might think, well, is Hazard the right guy? And if we want to sign someone for the number 10 position, I mean, do we want to sign Eden Hazard? So I'm not giving up. It's just my personal opinion. But yeah, you guys, again, thank you for the super chats. But yeah, you guys let me know. What do you think of offering those match reaction videos as a Patreon perk? Let me know. Okay. Nini, contact the YouTuber Newman on how to use game footage. He uses game footage frequently. I'm not too sure. To be honest, I don't really like Newman's videos that much. Okay. Christopher, am I the only one who could listen to Nini talking for days? Man, I could just go on all... I've got one of them voices, yeah, that put people to sleep. Damn. R.I.P. Hazard. As I've said all season, I wouldn't give up hope just yet. Tom, Nini, don't you think that Madrid will not go in for Eden because it should have been the move that they made 4 years ago, and Hazard will only have 2 to 3 years left at best? Again, I think there's a lot of factors still in play. I still think that, of course Hazard's feeling confident that Madrid might come in for him, but he's still trying to twerk at the same time to keep that interest there, you know. We don't know just how strong Madrid's interest is, you know, just yet. So, you know, it should be interesting to see. All right, cool. Nini, don't you think he should go? Nah, I don't want to see my best player leaving. I don't want to see that happening. Bio, will Pulisic be a replacement of Hazard if he goes to Madrid? Nah, there's going to be additions made in the attacking areas, 100%. No way. Any thoughts on the Coutinho links? He's just someone that's on the transfer lists. You know, he's someone that's being monitored. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's someone we definitely sign. So I wouldn't get too excited by that. Thoughts on 21 Savage being English? I mean, obviously, you know, it's kind of crazy how these memes have been. These memes have been hilarious. I've been cracking up non-stop. I kind of feel like, you know, Twitter went a bit hard on Demi Lovato, but I'm not going to get into that. The Jordan TFC, Nini, are you related to Deluded Blue? Nope. No, I'm not, bro. Kano Clark, see the move and goal from Pulisic. What the hell was that noise? Raw. Sorry, you guys. I heard some... I just heard some crazy noise right now. The hell? Oh, that was a super chat. Damn, my bad. Javan, how about Mikel as backup regista? You know what? I was actually thinking about that idea, but it's too late now. Mikel is actually signed for Middlesbrough, so he's playing for them right now. I heard that he's been decent for them, of course. He's been looking good. But again, I think Mikel was the first regista. He was the Premier League's first. I mean, he played the exact same role, under Ancelotti. For me, it could have been smart business if we were like really desperate for like immediate backup, but you know, with Ampadu and Kovacic, we don't really need to. Messi B22. If we could bring in anybody in the summer, who would you bring in? Also, your videos are the best. Thank you, man. For me, I'm always saying I want fullbacks. I want a new striker. I want another attacking winger as well. And I want like a backup player as number 8. They're the positions that I want covered. Unknown, damn Nini, it's hard to watch these Q&As. It starts so late. Yeah, I mean, this is just like a practice stream in that sense, because I want to try and understand how OBS works. Like, for example, like the chat should be in this box on the right, but I don't understand why it's not coming on, so obviously apologies for that. Okay. Dan CFC, do you think Van Ginkel can be involved? Depends. Depends how desperate we could potentially be as the season progresses. Not too sure about that just yet, but I wouldn't get too optimistic about seeing Van Ginkel playing, if I'm being honest. Nini for CFC TV. Ooh, nah. I let CFC Fan TV do their own thing, bro. Let me see. What other questions? Corey, what is your top 4 Premier League prediction? You know what? I still personally feel that that we still are going to make it into the top 4. I'm still feeling confident about that. I think it's going to be us, Liverpool, Man City, and potentially Man United or Tottenham. Kwame, how you doing, man? Okay, Barley, Isco to Chelsea, is it true, Nini? I'm not hearing anything concrete just yet, so there is nothing really concrete. I mean, I was told like not too long ago that you know we haven't even looked for backups for Eden Hazard really in that sense. It's like a recent thing now that we're looking at potential replacements, but let's see what happens. You know, in that sense, it's in Madrid's hands. They can decide if they want to sign Hazard or not. Let's see how it goes. Javan, thank you for another super chat, man. Would Kennedy be a good one on the right? He has great shooting. But I think with Kennedy, the season he's having so far this year has been pretty poor. He needs a lot more game time. Of course, I sympathise with guys like 22 or something, and you know he's barely played any football since he's been with us. So Kennedy isn't ready for us just yet. I mean, he's been really poor at Newcastle. Yeah, I know the football might make it a bit more difficult, but I think Kennedy, I think he's going to find his own path, but I don't think it's going to be with us. Sam Parsons, favourite pundits, personally mine is Alex Scott. She seems the only one who really talks some sense. 1000% Sam. Yeah, Alex Scott has been a breath of fresh air for real. It's just like, sometimes when I hear, it's like hearing myself, like, there's an audience that want to see that type of punditry. It's all of us. We hear these guys, we're like groaning and moaning. It's like, come on, it's just like the same cliche points they constantly make, and these black and white opinions about every single thing. And it's frustrating because these were the guys that were ex-pros. These were the guys that used to do this as their real life job. So it is frustrating in that sense. But again, she's been a breath of fresh air. I think she represents, football fans like us that we care more about the depth of the game. And hopefully it's going to encourage TV stations to find more pundits like her. What other questions are there? Hey Mads, how you doing, man? ESPN FC is the worst, and we're forced to watch them here because it's the only football show in the US. Real talk, man. ESPN, from some of the YouTube videos I've seen, nah, man, it's not doing it. It's really not doing it, and it's annoying because they've got all these like British pundits, and it's just like just letting the whole cause down. Javan again, bro. Real talk, man. I really appreciate the super chats today, honestly, but I'm starting to feel a bit guilty now, man. Rio Ferdinand has a harden for Chelsea. Rio, you know what? I would not be surprised. I mean, when Ferdinand was around, we had a bit more of an intense rivalry with Man United. He's not going to be happy at the amount of times that he lost trophies to us or lost big games to us, We have kind of humbled him over his career, so I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, John Terry, represents us as well. I don't know how him and Lampard are anymore, so maybe it is a bit personal for him, and he can't let that go, Ola Aina is killing it 100%, looking like he's sealed that move to Torino. Can play on the left and the right, and for Ola Aina, what I was told was it always came down to his tactical weaknesses. He was the type of player that had all the ability, but he just do like dumb moments in the game for no reason. And with Ola Aina now at Italy, where they really hone on your like tactical defensive skills, he's really improving in that regard. So obviously, good luck to him. It gets you thinking. We've got guys like Reece James and him. Can we not just use these guys? I mean, there's no way near as bad as some of the options that we have right now. I mean, you're looking at Ola Aina, someone that can play on the left and the right. It's quite rare to have that in modern football. He's got fantastic technique, and now that he's backing that up with great defensive performances, I don't know. Hopefully we've got a buyback clause in the deal. That makes sense. Kayo, yes, Kayo, how you doing, man? Nini, how is the new flat going? It's going decent, I can't lie. It felt a bit surreal at first, but I was ready for this step, man. Ready for this step. It's just nice coming back to my own place, doing my own thing. It's been taking a while. This January was a bit all over the place with holidays and birthdays and moving out and work and all this and all that. But hopefully this month I want to try and come back with a bit of a bang. So I got a lot of making up to do. Timothy, thank you, bro. Thank you for that. Do you think Batsman is being treated unfairly at the moment? So do I think if Michy is being unfairly treated? Oh, I mean, of course, playing that tactic to try and force the Spurs move was a bit cheeky right at the end. Jordan CFC, thank you for the super chat, man. Really appreciate that. I'm just thinking it was a bit ambitious to try and attempt the move to Tottenham right at the end. I mean, if we were going to agree to that, a lot of money would have had to have been involved in the deal. It was the only way for it to make sense. Obviously, I understand why Michy, you're kind of frustrated, with your spell at Valencia. You're thinking at a team like Spurs that need a striker, I'll be guaranteed game time. I'd get good game time with Harry Kane. They even use two strikers up front at times. All his Belgian friends there as well. I can see the sense and why he would want to pursue that deal, but I mean, obviously, he should have really understood that with a club like us, that's not going to happen, especially to Tottenham, who are ahead of us. I mean, come on, Michy. I mean, I don't know why he'd even attempt that. Real Betis, I think that was a move that he should have really looked at more. I think they got a fantastic midfield with William Carvalho, and they got another guy in midfield as well. Got Firpo as a fullback. Canales is on form again. They got that Lainez, the Mexican guy. They're looking like a team on the rise. I feel like he missed out not really going to them. But I don't know. Crystal Palace, I don't know, man. Um, okay. Sideshow Bob, aren't you curious though? How'd he get on? Maybe push with a Ballon d'Or. If he mess out, sorry man, I'm completely lost with that. Austin, Nini, what are your thoughts on Luka Jovic as a player? Well, the club are monitoring him, but again, when you hear words like monitor, no one really gets too excited by it because you got to see clubs as like an institution. I mean, with how massive they are, and with how if you're like an institution on that scale, you're gonna have like precautionary measures for everything. You're gonna scout tons and tons and tons of players. So, it's nice to see that he's someone that's been looked at. I heard he's having a fantastic year. From everything I'm hearing about him, I'm getting the impressions that he's like a Balkan Aguero. I mean, we know how fantastic Aguero is. It's rare to get that type of forward that's like, got the low center of gravity, but it's like really strong, has a really strong core, explosive acceleration and great first time finishing. And the guy's 20. I don't know why it didn't really work for him last year at Benfica, but they're kids. If you're 19, moving away from your hometown, going to a different country, maybe if you're not settling in with your teammates, all these human factors we might not even consider. I can understand why moves don't always work out all the time, but in Luka Jovic, I mean, he's an exciting player. He's always been a player that's had a really big reputation, so it should be interesting to see. Okay. Jordan, thank you, man. Thank you for that super chat. You mentioned before that we were on the hunt for a younger striker in the summer. Who would you personally go for and why? Good question. I do like the idea of Icardi, but you know what? Though, when it comes to Icardi, I know, I 1000% know that he's gonna frustrate the hell out of a ton of people because Icardi at times isn't gonna press. He's not gonna drop deep and help the team out if he has to. He's gonna focus on playing his game. Now, of course, him doing that is gonna bring goals because he guarantees that. But I know in the Premier League where, Premier League fans love players to be a bit more multifaceted and be able to do a lot more things in their game, he's going to frustrate the hell out of people if he's barely touching the ball and not working at the same time. So, people have to really understand what they're going to be expecting if you want someone like Icardi. But when it comes to forwards, it is quite hard. I mean, my thing's always been, instead of focusing on one like super elite, like world-class striker, I like the front three to have like, a balance when it comes to goal contributions. You're looking at teams now like, your Liverpools and stuff where it's their inside forwards and their wide forwards that provide the goals. I like that type of model. I like to see us do that. You look on the market right now, I mean, who's really there? There's a lot of interesting young strikers right now. They got that Rafael Leao at Lille. But is he ready now to play for a club like Chelsea at this age? Of course not. He's definitely not ready. What other young forwards are there? I mean, Lautaro Martinez, he's still settling at Inter Milan. I'm just, what other players are in the market that are young? I'm not too sure, It's not something I've really thought about too much. Martial would have been my guy. He really would have been. But it's frustrating that, with Mourinho going, you just knew that his agent was going to really latch onto that and really get this whole thing sorted with Man United. So, yeah, and it makes me think too, but we really as aggressive for Martial this window. I'm not too sure, like, to think that, reports even in the press stating our interest, but there was anything like major and concrete. So it really shows you just how far we pushed for that deal. So that is quite disappointing. But I'll be interested in the comment section to see everyone's opinion for striker for next season. Jordan, thank you, man. Do you think Wan-Bissaka would suit Sarri? Well, I 1000%. I mean, looking at his game, he's like, a typical young English footballer now. We're producing guys with skill and ability. Of course, his work rate's amazing. That his skill, first touch, his tackling as well, very disciplined, and he's definitely someone that can grow. But you look at us, we've got guys like Aina, we've got Reece James as well, we've still got Aspie. I mean, is Bissaka really on another level to these guys? Before people just say yeah, consider the fact that before Bissaka even got his opportunity at Crystal Palace, he wanted to go out on loan. He was going to go out on loan. The clubs in the Championship were interested. The only reason why he didn't go is because Palace couldn't afford to lose someone at the time. Luckily, he was able to get his opportunity from an injury, and that's how he pushed on. And you got to think, if that injury never happened, if Crystal Palace weren't really short of players for the team at that moment, he would have easily have gone to the Championship. And who's to say now that he'd be playing in the Premier League? That wouldn't be the case. And it's like, you would have missed out on a player like him because he never got that opportunity. And you have to cast your minds to guys like Aina and guys like Reece James. I mean, the praise that Reece James is getting at Wigan right now, man of the match every single week. Fans are saying he's the best player they've ever seen play for the club, which is high praise. And that's the type of stuff I'm seeing. You know, for me, I look at Reece James. He's like the new Philip Lahm. He can play in midfield. He can play out wide. He can play as a centre-back, left, right. His crossing is, well, I mean, I'm not going to get too excited, but his crossing is fantastic, similar to Philip Lahm. You know, he can beat a press. He can keep the ball. One-on-one defensively, very good. We've got the new Philip Lahm in Reece James, and I don't understand, you know, I mean, I'm really hoping that the club are going to have a plan to introduce this guy into the team, because he can be that good. And look at Ole Aina, you know, a guy that is improving a lot week in, week out. You know, Torino want to sign him for 10 million. He's doing amazingly well, and he can play on the left and the right. It's hard to find players like this, and it's like we produce tons and tons of technical fullbacks for the modern game. You know, without, you know, these guys are able to play down the entire flanks together. It's about time we start using them. You know, we've really struggled for fullbacks recently, and I think we have to change our approach. Instead of like looking to the market to help us out with our fullback solutions, let's look towards the club, because, you know, we've been training these guys to be this good for how long now? You know, Jay Da Silva, Aina, Reece James. That's not a weak fullback option to me, in my opinion. If you've got Aspie in there as well, I don't know. That's the approach I would take. Let me see. Christian, thank you, bro. Thanks a lot. If you are Roman, how would you run the club now? If I was Roman, I would look to get a new board. I really would. I'm sick and tired of this, you know, business over football every single time. It's getting a bit frustrating now. It's affecting our chances. You know, how many times are we looking weak now? And like all the games this club plays all the time are getting found out by other teams now. This is why we can never sell a player. This is why all our players constantly end up on loan every single time, because clubs know that we can play ourselves into positions where, you know, we can just sign Chelsea players on loan all the time. You know, there's no risk then if you're doing that. If the player gets injured, you just send him back. He's costing you nothing. And there's no transfer fee involved as well. It's ridiculous now, and I think the boards are the biggest issue right now, in my opinion. CFC Anu Janini, my super chat button ain't working. It says error. Hey, bro, don't worry, man. It's cool. Like, you've supported the stream so much before. I appreciate that, man. Okay, Andrew Salmon, Lorenzo, a different question. Do you think Callum will be able to replace Hazard in a few years? 1000%. I mean, you know, we always forget. Anytime you look at a young player, we always have an expectation that they're like an Mbappe. But guys like Mbappe come once every 10 years, you know. Players who are that good at such a young age, they have like perfect attributes, you know. Mbappe's acceleration, pace, you know, low center of gravity, finishing, his strength. I mean, yeah, and his body physique as well. I mean, this guy's like perfectly tailored for that role he's playing. This is why players like this come along so frequently, because it's so hard to get all these like right combinations together. But you know, for every other player that is world class or is known across Europe, you know, they were just once a youngster that happened to be in the right circumstances at the right time. You know, right system, right players around him, right tactics, right manager. All that stuff makes a difference. And you know, with Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think that he's definitely a player who I feel is the best we've ever produced. again, at first, I never used to think that. By watching this game more and analysing it, he has amazing attributes. I mean, his pace is ridiculous, acceleration, his skill, incredible technique, first touch. He knows what to do with the ball in the final third. He seems to pick up on things quickly as well. His dribbling ability, I think people are going to praise him a lot more for that in the future. I haven't really seen a winger that uses his left foot and right foot together for running with the ball. That's my favourite thing about Callum, and I think that he can be something like that, but we have to accept and realise that he's not going to be that straight away. Look at guys like Sterling. It's not until last season Sterling started to get more praise and he really developed his game. But look, he's been playing since he was 16. And he's like, 23, 24? It took him like 6 years to reach a really high level right now. Callum can reach that. But are we the club right now that have the patience to really develop a young player like that? Are we going to take our time? Are we going to accept that he's not going to be consistently amazing? Look at times, that Ronaldo had at United during his first 2 seasons. I mean, he wasn't consistently great throughout the season. Gareth Bale. It wasn't until his final season, when AVB was a manager, that he finally played consistently well throughout a season. Before that, he'd always play well for half a season, and he'd fall off. It's hard to, reach the very, very top in your game. Callum can do that, but if people are expecting him to be Mbappe straight away, that's not the right approach. I'm hoping time and patience is going to do it, Thoughts on Bakayoko to AC Milan. Bakayoko is interesting. I mean, let's see how he does. I haven't really seen too many games, so I can't really make a judgment in my opinion. Who knows? I mean, we own the player. We need a backup for Kante. Bakayoko could make sense depending on how he continues his season. Bakayoko hasn't ruled out potentially coming back as well. Maybe he needed AC Milan as a confidence booster, And if you've got 2 players like that in that position, it's looking interesting then. Brandon Sterling, Nini, do you think Chelsea should buy Mateo Kovacic at the end of the season? You know what, Brandon? I would. Now, you guys know I've been saying for time that I want to see Kova playing as a regista in the team. I said it for months. I've said it for time. It makes the most sense based on his attributes, He's much better deeper. He's not good in the final third. That's why he doesn't really help with anything. But I think that with Kova, you look at the player, he can play multiple roles in midfield, on the right, as an 8, as a regista as well. His passing is exceptional. He suits the passing game. He rarely loses the ball. He can beat the press as well. In the Premier League, especially when, it's completely different to Serie A because we don't have a winter break like they do in Serie A, I feel like if we had one in this country, our form during the winter periods wouldn't have been as bad. But I think that obviously there's no time to really rest. And I think if you've got like a Kova and Jorginho and Sarri's thinking, yeah, I can alternate between them like I was doing with Diarra and Jorginho at Napoli, then I think we're in a very good position then. And that's only going to help us overcome burnout during the latter stages of the season. So I would take Kova. I think that, with his new role as well, I think that adds more value to the player and he becomes more interesting in my opinion. Riley Tompkinson, appreciate that, bro. Thanks a lot for the super chat, man. Ali22, is Ampadu good enough to start over Luiz or Rudiger, or is he still young to do that? I think Ampadu is an interesting player. I think he's someone, again, I don't think his passing is as accurate to really justify being like the main creator. You know what? I wish when it came to David Luiz, we appreciate the player a bit more. I mean, he's someone where you watch live, you really realize, wow, this is the type of technique you need to have at this level. Like the way he just starts attacks, his passing is incredible. I mean, the way he beats the press as well, he's that calming influence at the back. When players don't know what to do with the ball, you pass it to Luiz, you know that he's not going to give it away. He's going to do something good with it. And his technique, you just know that this guy's a world-class football player. I mean, my favourite David Luiz technique is when he's just standing still. He's not using his body for momentum. And he just uses the weight, he makes a pass and gets the weight of the pass perfect on the ball. He's standing in a stationary position and, Yeah, I'm describing it so shit right now. My God, but David Luiz, he's someone that I paid to watch in the stadium. You know, he's one of my favorite players. But Ampadu, again, his passing isn't as accurate. You know, am I going to rely on him to play the right passes at the back? I think that you know, we kind of take Luiz for granted when it comes to his passing because we think that Luiz is just like one of a bunch of defenders that can do this, but he's not. He's like one of the elite few. I mean, there's not many defenders in Europe that can do this stuff on the ball that Luiz does. I don't think anyone can do it as good as him, in my opinion. But you know, this is why we got to appreciate him more because you know I've seen criticisms towards guys like Christensen. You know, his passing isn't as good. No shit, his passing isn't as good because he's not David Luiz. You know, Luiz is a one of a kind player. He's not. There's not like 20 Luizes out there in Europe. You know, who can do it as good as him. So we got to put some respect on his name. But R.I.P. Salah. Yep, I know it's a shame what happened to him. Crazy. Evan, would you realistically ask Real Madrid for Hazard how much money as well? Well, by that time he's got like a year left on his contract. I bet the most we could get would be between like maybe 80 million. You know what? Maybe 100 million. Maybe could be ambitious, but you know, let's see how the season goes on. You know, there's plenty of time. It'll be interesting to see. Lorenzo Lopez, David Luiz needs Andres next to him. When Luiz steps out, Andres will cover. Whereas Rudiger has... That's what I mean. I think Rudiger's positioning looks bad because he's got the same instincts as a David Luiz. You know, he's not like a defender that's going to cover someone. That's not his game. So that was the point I was trying to stress in that video, the 5 talking points video yesterday. You know, it's about the partnership when it comes to defending. Having a great defense isn't having 4 of the best like players in your back 4. It's about if these guys complement each other's game, their weaknesses. If they complement each other's instincts as well, they're all the things that add up in my opinion. Granted, Nini, man, genuinely think you could be part of Sarri's backroom staff. I watch your video and live streams for how long? Many ideas that Sarri exploring now. You've already suggested months ago. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. You know, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that the points I make, like, you know, people actually, you know, hear them and listen to them, which is good. Because I feel like, again, you know, a lot of these things that we end up seeing, I feel like I have kind of like theorized about it already. So at least you guys know that, you know, I'm not just like waffling and talking shit for no reason, you know. So thank you for that comment, man. Okay. Alex, Nini better than most of these pundits. Come on, you guys are just trying to, you know, you guys are trying to gas me up a bit now. Connor, hi, bro. What do you think our perfect centre-back partnership is? Again, as I was just saying earlier, I think that Christensen and Luiz makes a lot of sense. I think Christensen, you know, his ability to help us defend counter-attacks because Christensen's positioning is just amazing. It's always been like his best quality. He's so smart. It's like, really look at him, you know, he's not going to do anything spectacular, but like he's like the Busquets of defenders in the sense that, you know, he's a player like if you watch him, that you understand the game. And you really do. Like, for example, you know, the amount of times against Huddersfield, he was pushing out in the wide areas. How many times is Rudiger in the wide areas and he loses the 50-50? I mean, I don't blame him because for me, him and Luiz are pretty similar. But with Christensen, his instincts are different to those players, you know. And I think that's why he helps complement things. He's got the recovery pace. Very, very fast, Christensen. Positioning. He knows how to close off passing angles. How many times is he constantly moving left or right? Constantly thinking about blocking a passing lane. Happened every single time against Huddersfield. And, you know, he's just a very classy player to look at. And it shows you that defending isn't just about winning a 50-50 tackle or a slide tackle, you know. There's more to it. Gotti Reyes, thank you, bro. What are your thoughts on people comparing Son to Eden Hazard? Wow. Is it because they both cut inside and take shots? That's a bit reactionary. Obviously, I must be coming from Tottenham Twitter. Let's be serious. My thoughts on people comparing Son and Hazard feels kind of mad, to be honest. That's even a thing. I don't know what to say to that, man. I mean, I feel like, obviously, you know, people that aren't Chelsea fans don't really understand Eden Hazard. And this is why they think he's overrated, because, you know, they've assumed that he's a guy that's supposed to get goals and be like our version of Messi or Ronaldo, which isn't really the case. You know, he's like you know, an Iniesta or something, that, you know, that type of player that, you know, improves the whole team, and a lot of his qualities help affect the game. And I think that's what Hazard's best quality is, you know, affecting the game completely for us. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Son is a good player. I like him. You know, he's typical German player, play all across the front four. He can use his left foot and right foot. Very good player, you know. But nah, you can't compare the two. You know, you definitely can't compare the two. But yeah, Son definitely is underrated. But I kind of feel like Son is like low key popular now because of FIFA and like his like crazy stats in the game. Imzi, yes, man. What you saying, man? I remember seeing you. I remember we met outside the stadium once. So how you doing, man? Nini, your thoughts on Mark Goldbridge always slating Hazard, saying that De Bruyne and Salah are better than him, which is complete nonsense. We all know that. I mean, every Belgian teammate says Hazard, and you know these guys play with him and De Bruyne. So if the national teammates are saying that, then I think I know whose opinion to take more seriously. I think, again, this is what I was saying about my earlier point. You know, these guys don't really understand Hazard. They think he's supposed to be our version of Ronaldo or something when he's not. You know, he's his own player. He's his own, you know, he plays the game differently. It's quite hard to compare someone to Hazard. I think the closest player is probably someone like a Frank Ribery, in my opinion. You know, they're players that can score more if they wanted to, but they tend to, yeah, they tend to just play football for themselves. That's the impression I've always got of both players. But yeah, you know, anytime I even though Salah's a fantastic player, I really do like him, and it's a shame that he left. You know, he's one of those players that are using like those stats arguments, you know? Stats arguments in the sense where it's like, oh, Salah, his shot conversion is like 22%, and you know he scored this many important goals, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you know, when you're saying it and you're not, you know, not seeing it for yourself, it sounds good, but watching the player with your own eyes gives you a completely different context of the game, completely different context, and it's like, it makes it so nonsensical in that sense, because you're not even judging the players fairly on the same merits, because you don't even understand what they are. So yeah, of course Salah isn't better than him. Hazard adds more to the game than just, you know, having a goal threat, and I can't believe some people, and it's like, you know, he's been here for like how many years now, still don't understand what type of player Hazard is. Okay, let me see what other questions. You guys, thank you for the super chats as well. Let me see what's happening. What is happening? You guys, one sec. Yeah, I need to wrap up pretty soon. I just realized half an hour. It's been longer than that now. Yeah, you guys, I'm going to answer the last few questions. You guys, if you're a Patreon sub, don't worry. I'm going to be doing another Q&A live stream later. This is more of a practice one to really, you know, get to terms with how OBS works and get that stuff sorted. So obviously, don't worry about that. I haven't forgotten about you guys. Let me answer a few more. Okay. Curtis, thoughts on the Zulian and the abuse that's been dishing out? Curtis, I'm not too sure what you mean. I don't think I'm up to times with that story is. My bad. Charlie Fairback, Nini, can I be a co-host on your amazing analysis? I'm from Pakistan, and I think you should be the manager someday. Bro, thanks a lot, man. Of course, you know, yeah, I'm a very level-headed person. You know, it's not as simple being a manager. There's a lot more involved in that. Of course, I'm really humbled by their sentiments, so I appreciate the really kind comment, man. But yeah, I mean, you know, I would like to try and start some of my coaching badges just to have, you know. I think that'd be fun to have, because it could really help with the channel if my tactical knowledge is even better. But yeah, man, of course, thank you for the comment. What other questions? Smithy, Nini, thoughts on Willian? I feel like I kind of say the same stuff on Willian all the time. You know, I sympathise for the guy. He's constantly being used out of position. The times where he does get to play in his position, you know, he looks much better. He doesn't have a left foot. Not going to help him. And I think he's used some more counter-attacking football than, you know, like possession football, in my opinion. Yeah, I think now he's on the decline, in my opinion. It takes him double the amount of shots to get a goal. And this is why he's looking more frustrating to me, because he's obviously frustrated that he's not scoring as much, but because of that, he's forcing it and he's just playing more selfishly. And it's really annoying me because this season so far, it's become more evident that, you know, his final ball just ain't really there, you know. I think it's a combination of bad form, and I'm starting to think he's in decline a bit now. So, you know, we do need to get a better player. Thank you, Bad, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, bro. Christian, don't worry, man. I'm getting the super chats up now. Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming up on my homepage. So that's really annoying. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Come on. Shivang, hey man, thank you for the super chat. Should we swap Sarri for Pochettino? Bro, come on. Sarri doing business with Tottenham? Come on, that's not happening. Swap Sarri for Pochettino. I mean, nah. I wouldn't really take that rumor. You know, I wouldn't take it into consideration, in my opinion. I wouldn't worry about that. But thank you for the super chat. Christian, sorry for taking so long. Thoughts on the future of Zouma? Delict with Hazard. Zouma is doing bits at Everton right now. Again, he's one of the most underrated players in the league, because people think Zouma's much worse for some reason. I don't know why he gives the impression that he's not as good. Because when you actually see him, his technique is above average. It's good. He can spray a pass. He can keep the ball. Extremely fast. For me, him and Van Dijk are the two best aerial defenders in the league. They win everything in the air. And positionally, he's really good. I blame Conte for this whole Zouma thing. You think the board understand football? Of course they don't, you know. They probably thought Zouma, his age, you know, he's an international, blah, blah, blah. We can make a lot of money from this guy if we send him on loan. So I'm hoping Zuma's going to be part of the team. I think Sarri could really work with Zouma a lot. He is like a Varane type of player. And I think that if we've got him and Christensen and Rudiger and Luiz, I think you're set with that back four. And then as Luiz maybe leaves or retires, Ampadu takes up that role. And we've got Ampadu, Christensen, Zouma, Rudiger. I think that's a fantastic back four to have. And I think that would be the best defensive four in the Premier League, you know. That's how I would do it. But again, you know, it's quite nervous when it comes to Zuma's future. I mean, you know, we were looking to sign Regani from Juventus for some baffling reason. Regani, that was a thing that would have happened if that deal went through, and that baffles me. You know, we just don't really value the players we have. I don't understand why that's the case. I really don't. But Zouma, again, you know, he's the first choice defender at Everton right now because he's good. You know, I look at the forums and I'm a geek like that. I go on Reddit, look at the Everton fans, see what they're saying to get like the real context of like what's happening. All I see is praise for Zouma. I don't understand why no one else seems to like him. But when it comes to Delict, you know, he's a very good player. But, you know, Delict to me is like similar to defenders like, you know, your Varanes, your Zumas, your Davinson Sanchez's. You know, they're the type of defenders that, you know, he has to carry the ball into midfield. He has to. We're looking at our team now. You know, a lot of people, as I'm saying, a lot of people think, oh, you know, Christensen can just develop his pass the game like Luiz. No, you can't, you know, because Luiz has always had that. Luiz is a very, very unique player in world football. So you can't take for granted you know, the expertise and how he passes the ball, because not many players can do that. But you know, we can't expect Delict to come in and be like a David Luiz spraying passes and, you know, be like a Varane. You know what I mean? If you sign someone like a Delict, you have to let him play to his strengths. And his strengths are, you know, leaving the lines, obviously, and carrying the ball into midfield. But, you know, when you consider the attributes, we have that in Christensen already. And I'm thinking, you know, it's not as if you can have every world-class defender playing for you. Yeah, Delict will probably be a fantastic defender in the future. But then we've already got guys like Christensen, Ampadu, Zouma, and Rudiger. And I think that, you know, that's as strong as it needs to be, in my opinion. So I don't think the lid's needed. I don't want to see any centre backs coming. I think it's completely unnecessary. Salam Majid, thank you, bro, and sorry for taking so long. Willian to Barcelona in exchange for Malcolm. Hey, I would have been interested in the deal. I really would. You know, a Malcolm and a Pulisic. It could be an interesting combination. You know, I definitely want to see someone on the right with a left foot. I've been saying it for years. I've wanted it for so long. So back to the days when we were close to signing Hulk from like Porto and that. I mean, that didn't go through. We've always needed that Avion Robin back in the team, which we had that in Salah, but then Mourinho was here. You know, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Obviously, Willian wants a longer deal. It's natural. But I could see that if he really wanted to stay in London, he would accept taking the year contracts and just fulfilling the demands to get a new contract, So that'd be interesting. But you guys, I think I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna bring this stream to an end. Let me answer 3 more questions on the live stream. Okay. Diego Lazzo. Nini, please unban my main channel. I'm confused, man. Curtis, we need a left-footed right winger, 1,000%. I can't stress it anymore. Leon Bailey, I haven't heard any updates. I haven't heard any updates. One thing I need to say to you guys too is, when it comes to this type of stuff as well, I'm fortunate that I know people that do give me information, but it's not as if they don't have their own lives or their own responsibilities. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to pepper their phones with texts every single day asking about this, that. They're not journalists, So I feel like when it's important stuff, I break it to you guys. And there's times where, there's a lot of stuff I hear that I just don't have the time to really talk about in a video. I didn't really ever care about being the guy to break news. That's never really been my thing. I always thought you guys saw me as the guy where it's okay, if I'm seeing this story and Nini's saying that this is the case and there's more information behind it that I'm not reading in the article, okay, I can trust this and I can trust that obviously, Nini is getting the right stuff. You know what I mean? That video I did, The Ends, I got a lot of criticism in that video. It's my most disliked video I've ever done. People saying, how do you know this? You're lying. You clickbait, blah, 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 blah. But what was really different, what didn't happen from that video, We're still in a situation where, we got an impending transfer ban, which the club have been preparing for in advance for a while, and they're nervous about. Obviously, we did offer that contract to Cesc, which he rejected, and now he's at Monaco now. A lot of things happen, the whole thing with Hudson-Odoi, thank God he didn't leave us in this period. But I said that talks broke down with him and his dad, and they were looking to move as soon as, obviously, January. I didn't know it was Bayern Munich, but I didn't claim to know that. I mean, and Eden Hazard as well. I said 2 months ago that, he told teammates and club staff that, he wanted to go. I don't know what's happened since then, because that video came out 2 months ago, but you know what I mean? I feel like I am quite reliable now. Okay. Thank you, Janet, for that super chat again, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that vid was mad. Obviously, I can understand that, it was a bit negative, but what did I say in the video that hasn't been a thing that's aired out now, Derek from Pronini. What would your 3-year expectation be for the first team under Sarri? PS, people need to think in perspective and be patient with the team. 100% agree. For me, I think that definitely one league title, 100%. One league has to be won. An FA Cup has to be in there as well. And maybe some other trophies as well. But I think that, winning the league now is going to be harder in the Premier League. Liverpool, United will come back with a bang. Man City are up there. Arsenal. It's much harder to, be that team that's going to be the guaranteed favourite. So it's going to be a battle every single season. But I think in that 3-year period, definitely we need to get a league. And I think that we have to win some nice trophies, Abdi Adan, Nini, thoughts on Van Ginkel potentially featuring towards the end of the season? Well, probably not, because you have to understand, he has to get back to a stage where he is fully match fit. And he has to understand how to play Sarri ball, which he isn't doing because obviously he's out with an injury. So it'll be very unlikely seeing Van Ginkel playing any part of the season, but who knows what's going to happen. CFC and New Janini, you confident for City? I don't know, it's weird. I think that if we play our game, then yeah. But, you know, Pep Guardiola's going to analyse what went wrong in that 2-0 defeat. And I'm thinking, is he going to have a game plan? And my mindset is, what type of game plan could Pep have? So I'm just going to be doing some research over the next few days, trying to analyse some Man City games to really get an understanding of, you know, like what type of tactics have they used this season, you know? So that should be interesting to see. But Man City, you know, it's going to be a good test. You know, so far it's been like, I think 1 draw, 1 loss and 1 win or something like that. I can't fully remember, but I mean, no, one win to them, 1 win for us. So, I mean, I guess in this grand scheme of things, we should be expecting a draw in this upcoming game, which I would be happy with. But with Higuain up front now, we've got a goal scorer. I feel like you can get at Man City. I don't feel as scared at playing them as much, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, you guys, I think that I'm actually going to keep this live stream to an end. Before I go though, I just want to say, oh, sorry, bro, it's Junaid's. Sorry about that, man. Junaid, thank you for all the super chats for today. But yeah, I just wanted to say, obviously, the match reaction videos that I'm liking, you know, I like doing them. I like analysing points of the game, and it's nice to like relive the game again. With YouTube, it's a pain in the arse when you use footage, and I feel like this was something I really wanted to add to the channel that I can't. But I don't really want to let that series die. So what I'm going to be doing from the Man City game, I'm going to be doing match reactions, but it's going to be for Patreon subscribers. So I'm going to set that up and advertise it in case people are interested. And in the future, I might even consider doing more exclusive videos on Patreon because, you know, if I can't use footage on my channel and I don't want to, you know, I can't afford to risk getting a strike because if I lost this channel, I don't know what I'd do. You know, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking maybe I could offer like a service as to why I should be supported on Patreon anyway. But yeah, you guys, obviously it's going to be a hectic month. Obviously, expect more videos to come out for tomorrow as well. I'm going to get better with the OBS format to really understand how to do things and, you know, keep it more professional looking in that. But I want to say thank you to everyone that's obviously supported me with Super Chats today. Everyone that's a Patreon subscriber, as I've said already, this was only like a practice stream, so I could get an idea of how to use OBS. That's why you see this like massive, this video ain't available thing on the right. But yeah, you guys, I'm kind of tired. I actually need to go to bed. It's got an early start tomorrow. You guys, thank you for watching. I'm QnA FC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.